This, my friends, is the sound of history being made.
We, the people, declare today that the most evident of truths, that all of us are created equal, is the star that guides us still. Just as it guided our forebears through Seneca Falls and Selma and Stonewall, our journey is not complete until our gay brothers and sisters are treated like anyone else under the law. For if we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well.
And with that, President Barack Obama became the first president to mention the word gay and the issue of gay equality in an inaugural speech. So, how will that translate into action during his second term? Joining me to discuss is the founder and executive director of Truth Wins Out, Wayne Besson, who I read almost every day, and Tico Almeida, who served as lead counsel on the proposed Employee Non-Discrimination Act for the U.S. House of Representatives, and is founder and president of Freedom to Work. I'm honored that both of you gentlemen would join me this evening to talk about this historic event. So let me start with you, Tico. What did you make of President Obama's speech yesterday? Were you as surprised as everybody else?
I wasn't surprised that the president mentioned gay rights because he's made it such a strong part of his administration's record of accomplishment during the first 4 years. And I wasn't surprised that it got such a large applause and enthusiastic response from the audience. I was there on the steps, on the lawn of the Capitol near the steps, and it really was one of the lines in the entire speech that got the most enthusiastic response. But what pleasantly surprised me was the reference to Stonewall. I think the president really wove our story as gay Americans and transgender Americans into the story of America. And that line about the same guiding star of equality that led those at Seneca Falls and at Selma being the same principle and the same star for those who stood up to discrimination and harassment at Stonewall. That was really unexpected, and it filled my heart with pride, and it shows that this president wants to make equality for our community part of his legacy. He's accomplished so much, and there's a bunch more that we're going to do in the next 4 years.
I agree. I was just gobsmacked that a U.S. president even knows about Stonewall. I say that as someone who lives across the street from the actual place. Wayne, let me go to you. Is this the guy we voted for in 2008? Did we finally see the real, fully evolved President Obama yesterday, freed from political calculation and really speaking from his heart?
I believe it was. I mean, that speech was as moving as it was magnificent. It was as bold as it was beautiful. This was history in the making, and this came from a president who was not just rewarding another special interest. This was not somebody who was just throwing bones because of an issue. This was someone who believed that their legacy was partially dependent on achieving gay and lesbian rights, and that is something that he wanted something to be very proud of and something in the presidential library. I was stunned, and to quote Chris Matthews, I had a tingle up my leg. I really had the chills, and it had nothing to do with the freezing temperatures up here in Burlington, Vermont. I believe if you look back at Obama's history when he first ran for state senate, he was originally for marriage equality. In an interview with the Windy City Times, I believe for political reasons he backed away from it, and of course now he's come full circle again. I think we're going to see a lot more from this president, and I was honored and proud to be a part of history watching that speech yesterday.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. We discussed last night with Governor Granholm how if the president had come out full-throated for marriage equality back in 2008, the year that Prop 8 passed in California, there's the dreadful possibility that we might have seen the re-inauguration of President McCain and Vice President Palin yesterday. I think you're right. It was a political choice, and his heart's always been there. But Tico, let me put this to you. What are you hoping to see from the president in his second term, and additionally in his State of the Union? Is he going to be just an advocate-in-chief, or do you think he's going to actually do more?
There are a lot of upcoming opportunities for the Obama administration to stand strongly on the side of fairness and equality. One of them is that the Supreme Court is going to take up marriage equality in March. His Department of Justice will have the opportunity to put in briefs. And we know that the Obama administration is opposing the so-called Defense of Marriage Act. But I think the real question that came up at the White House press briefing today is whether they will also oppose the discriminatory Prop 8 from California. The question there is whether states can discriminate and what the president thinks about that. And I hope that he will take the logical next step from his beautiful remarks yesterday and weigh in on both issues. The other thing that
please go on, Tico.
No, go ahead.
Wayne, let me put it to you. I mean, we saw in the first term the president took away Don't Ask, Don't Tell for our troops serving, and even more powerfully came out in favor of marriage equality, even if that wasn't any policy making on his part. What would you like to see him do in the second term?
Well, we've come so far so fast, and what I'd like to see the president do is consider openly gay person for cabinet or high-level positions within the administration. I think although Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been scrapped, there is still a problem within the military where discrimination exists against gay and lesbian the spouses. I also would like to see perhaps the executive order as mentioned with contractors, and there's still in most states today you can fire somebody because of their sexual orientation. That must change, and we also can never forget our transgender brothers and sisters who still have a lot of fighting to do in front of them.
Tico, we've only got about 20 seconds left. What do you think will be the status on the Employee Non-Discrimination Act in the second term?
I hope that the president will push for it by mentioning it in his State of the Union in February. He has not yet publicly used that opportunity of a State of the Union to call for Congress to act. And knowing that the Republican obstructionists aren't going to act, he should sign the executive order that ensures that U.S. taxpayer money is never wasted by discriminating against gay or transgender Americans. There's millions, hundreds of millions of dollars that go to federal contracting. We have a right as taxpayers to ensure that that is being spent well and without discrimination. That's something he can do with the stroke of his pen, and I'm optimistic he's going to do it soon.
Founder and Executive Director of Truth Wins Out, Wayne Besson, and founder and president of Freedom to Work, Tico Alameda. Thank you both for your time and insight this evening and for your service to this cause in general. Hope you'll both come back.
Thank you.
Barack Obama is president again, and the right wing hasn't freaked out like this since they lost the Civil War. They did lose that, you know. My panel of non-experts talks about that ahead, but first, I gotta know, what is coming up tonight on Say Anything with Joy Behar? Fill me in, Joy.